Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this press conference organized by Caritas Internationalis on the current situation in Ukraine. Today, we wanted to give the floor to our colleagues who are courageously continue to working in order to provide people with help in the country. And we will be able to listen to the testimony of Mrs. Tetiana Stawnychy, President of Caritas Ukraine, and as well as Fr Vyacheslav Grynevych, the Executive Director of Caritas-Spes Ukraine. As you know, there are two Caritases in Ukraine, and we will learn more today about their valuable work. I will of course, our colleague cannot stay longer, so we will try to keep this press conference around 1 hour, not more than that. I will encourage you, if you have any question, to use the chat box, and we will try to ask them as question. We will be able to do it during this time frame. Before, I would like, first of all, to give the floor to Monsignor Michael Landau, who is the President of Caritas Europa, for a few words. Monsignor Landau, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Just a few words, because I think we all are keen to listen to Tetiana, Vyacheslav, and to have a first-hand experience. So I would like for Caritas Europe just to stress a few aspects. First, we must not forget this word, first of all, means enormous suffering. What we see is a humanitarian catastrophe. Caritas Ukraine, Caritas-Spes stand with the suffering people. Caritas Europa, Caritas Internationalis stand on the side, on their side, and we try to support them. Europe, the world, must not forget Ukraine. And it's not first of all about oil, gas, politics, military. It's first of all about the suffering of women, children, men. This war means enormous suffering. We pray for peace. We hope that the world will find a way back to diplomacy. I'm grateful to Caritas Poland, Caritas Hungary, Slovakia, Lithuania, Moldova, all the neighboring countries. We all prepare. We are happy that Caritas worldwide stands near to those who suffer in this war. That is a moment where we urgently need European solidarity, where we urgently need worldwide solidarity. We need to help within Ukraine and in the neighboring countries. And we have to prepare to offer safety and all what is needed to those who might come into the neighboring countries or in other countries all over Europe. We need humanitarian corridors so that the humanitarian aid can reach the people. This necessitates safe space for humanitarian aid and humanitarian aid workers, and security for all who need this security. Europe, the world, must not forget the suffering people in Ukraine. They need us, and they need us need us now. And as I know that there are many ready to give their donations, I might add that for the European world, every euro counts and might save life. And so please do whatever you can do to support the work done there and within the neighboring countries, the people who urgently need. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Monsignor Landau. I give the floor back to our Secretary General.
Your Excellencies, Mr. and Ambassadors and Madam Ambassadors, journalists, and colleagues of Caritas. Greetings for peace and harmony. In less than a week, Ukrainian people's peaceful life turned to a nightmare. Overnight, a normal, regular social life transformed into violence, fear, panic, and sufferings. Innocent civilians started to flee the jaws of death present at their doorstep, taking the minimum they could, leaping into the unknown by taking the road to exile. Women and young children, elderly men and women have left their homes with no preparation whatsoever. Migrant students studying in Ukraine have also, in panic, have taken the road to safe haven, taking nothing with them. The sudden outburst of violence has created chaos, panic, and more than 500,000 have fled their homes, and millions may leave the country if the situation deteriorates in the coming days. Caritas Ukraine and Caritas-Spes are in the front line, courageously mobilizing hundreds of young volunteers, both men and women, to bring care and concern for the poorest, for those affected. Caritas claimed that from the beginning itself, when it called on local solidarity, people flocked to Caritas with whatever they had to help those in need. Driven by an inner urge to help their brothers and sisters, they gave means to fulfill its mission of Caritas, love. In this moment of tragedy for these people, for the Ukrainian, being in solidarity with one another is an island of hope. At the Confederation level, more than 40 Caritas are contributing to emergency appeal that has been prepared, and this will be dispersed according to the requests coming from Caritas. At the moment, Caritas Ukraine is involved in different kinds of emergency activities, including psychosocial support to the people in need, especially women and young children who are traumatized. Caritas Internationalis, a confederation of 162 members, is following the developments closely and mobilizing a wave of solidarity, not only to respond to the present crisis, but also taking into consideration the future reconstruction of the lives of the Ukrainians who may want to come back, and we are preparing it for today. The Confederation is also highly concerned by the safety of the thousands of migrants and refugees living in Ukraine and subject to discrimination. They also need to be treated with dignity and compassion at this tragic moment and must be given unconditional protection. The Confederation expresses its solidarity with Ukraine, with Caritas Ukraine and Caritas-Spes, which have decided to stay in Kiev despite the violent fightings and insecurity. We will hear from Caritas in Ukraine how the needs are increasing day by day, and Caritas is called to be creative in order to bring the best support it can to the people who are suffering. We will hear from the Director of Caritas-Spes and the President of Caritas Ukraine, their witnesses. Caritas Internationalis reiterates that the life-saving help to the people cannot be reached without a safe humanitarian corridor and safety for the people who are on the road to exile. There will be no winner in this war, but only sufferings and loss of dignity for the innocent civilians. Each tear and cry of the children, women, the elders, and the migrants is a call for solidarity and compassion. Caritas Internationalis joins the Holy Father in his prayer for peace in Ukraine and an end to the violence, and we insist on advocating for a peaceful and immediate resolution of the conflict. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aloysius John. And now, without further ado, we give the floor to, first of all, to Mrs. Tetiana Stawnychy, from President of Caritas Ukraine. We all saw the dramatic images coming in also in the latest hours. So, Tetiana, would you mind updating us on how is the situation in the country?
Yes, thank you, Marta. Can you hear me? Yeah, it's okay?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay, super. Just a short update on, as you know, we're in day 6 of this war, and every day brings something new or something different. So this morning, the center of Kharkiv was bombed. Also, so civilian infrastructure is being hit, and one of our partner organizations that had a social village for foster children was also hit by bombs. So thankfully the children had been evacuated, previously relocated to another location. Yeah, so the situation continues to be tense. There's active fighting in Kyiv, Chernihiv, Sumy, Kharkiv, along the contact line, Mariupol, Zaporizhzhia, Melitopol, also in Mykolaiv and Kherson. There's also certain infrastructure that's been hit in Kherson. So the situation is difficult, very volatile. I'm sure that you've all read the news and you know as much as I do on the actions that's going on. What I'd like to talk about today a little bit is about the humanitarian situation. So we have a situation of people who were fleeing from the fighting, and they're all in transit. Most of them are in transit to the border. There are some people who are stopping at some point in Western Ukraine and settling for a little while, but many people are going to the border. It's usually women and children who are trying to get across. So that's one humanitarian situation. The other humanitarian situation is the people who've been left behind where the fighting is ongoing. Yeah, so that's two hot points that we're looking at. Our initial planning and response had to do with IDPs, internally displaced people. So we've been working our welcome centers. We have 25 centers throughout Ukraine that have been trying to help people along the way. So providing hot food, shelter, some psychosocial support, a warm place to sleep, and then help them on their way. We've also been, in the last days, giving more attention to what's happening along the border. With that, we're working on 3 different levels. We have one Caritas organization that's been going out with a tent and also heaters to give people a place to warm up. We've been waiting in the long lines at the borders, also providing hot food and something hot to drink, and some psychosocial support as well. People are who are at the border are women with children, and they're scared. We've also, some of the parishes who are close to the borders have been also trying to go out and help in a more ad hoc way to give people something warm to drink and check on how they're doing. And then, of course, we're also working with IOM. We did an assessment with them yesterday of the situation, and I think we'll be working in a more systemic way to answer the needs at the border in the coming days. Another thing that we're focusing on a lot is right now is organizing how we can bring humanitarian aid in across the border. So for now in Western Ukraine, the stores are still stocked, but in other areas it's getting sparse. I think Fr Vyacheslav can tell you a little bit more of the situation in Kyiv when he speaks. Yeah, so again, as Caritas as an organization, we started working immediately on the first day, had held meetings with our local organizations, trying to help them to organize and offer the aid that we can for people who are in need, and that way fulfilling the mission that we have of giving this practical love to neighbor. What I'd like to say also is that there has been a big outpouring of support, not just thankfully from the international community, but also inside of Ukraine. There's been a big outpouring of volunteers and people bringing things to help the refugees, to help the people who are fleeing along. It's been very encouraging, and I think before this all started, we had a meeting with His Beatitude Sviatoslav Shevchuk about the tension that was going on. And I remember he told us that as Caritas, we, through our actions, we carry with us a deep truth. Yeah, we carry a deep truth, and it's the truth about the dignity of the human person. And that through our actions, we have a special path to restoring this special deep truth and this deep human dignity of people. So with that, I'd like to end. I don't know if Marta, did you?
Thank you so much, Tetiana. No, we really are also incredibly amazed by the strength of the people. Tetiana, in these days, we were in contact with Tetiana and Father Vyacheslav, and also with their team, and we are really collecting stories about huge generosity also from IDPs, join Caritas volunteers in order to help other people. And I will ask now Father Vyacheslav. I just saw you on your Twitter last night, a picture of a food store empty. So how is the situation now in Kiev?
Situation is a little bit difficult, as I spoke before also with Tetiana. Hello, everybody. Yes, and because that malls, that grocery shops are empty, and also we have this time when the city is closed, we cannot leave our houses. We have to remain inside in safety place. And yesterday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. we could buy something, we could move a little bit through the city, and so we had that time for buying what we need for us. And generally in the city there was many soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers, and also the soldiers of territory defense. But generally situation was okay. But around streets I saw a lot of cars that was distracted by bombs, by I don't know, by arms. Yeah. It's about the situation in Kiev. Also in my house, we have 37 people, children generally, with mothers, and they have this safety place in our church, in our house. Generally, these people come from our neighbors, and also they have dogs, they have parrots, they have cats. So we have a small zoo also. I don't know, Marta, about Caritas-Spes at this moment, or?
Sure. You can go ahead, and especially you were talking about children. We know how much Caritas-Spes is committed in helping many children also to leave the dangerous areas of the countries and to find a safe shelter.
Okay. I will start with this because I am, as a priest, also have my reflection about this situation, and I'm thinking about tears of Ukrainian society, because work makes both adults and children cry. We learn it when hiding in basements during the air strikes. The war wounded hearts will never be healed. Aside from material losses that can be rebuilt over time, the pain and fear that people will experience will take very long to recover. Caritas-Spes at this moment supports people who gathered at the western borders. It's about 4,200 people. They got our support. We provide temporary housing in shelters. There is about 350 people. We have places that where can be about, at this moment in our shelters we have 200 people. There is a place safe, and we are open to support people that need to be in safe. We are equipped shelters in 5 cities, one of which is in a children's hospital for pregnant women who just delivered, and children. We understand that these are only the first days of a terrible war, which, like a terrible dream, have enwrapped our society. Also, as a Caritas-Spes, we opened an emergency office in Warsaw, thanks to the openness of Caritas Poland. We sent 4 employers there who are already working with us from there. This office will be helpful in case the situation in Ukraine becomes worse and we will lose communication with the rest of the world. It will also enhance further coordination of assistance to the Ukrainian people. Also, at this moment, as a problem, I said, as a Caritas-Spes, we have the opportunity to shelter 650 children in our cells under normal condition. But now, in unusual circumstances, we can take care of 400 children. We have already accepted that we have at this moment 200 children, but yesterday we also communicate with, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, but yesterday we also started communication with our partners from the state. They would like to evacuate children from governative houses of children. I mean, from, yeah. We don't know how many can be the children, but we're still in contact. And now is the question that we have to resolve the safety evacuation of that children. Yes, and so the question that you said before about humanitarian corridor is very important for us. Because we have that experience work with children during our history as a Caritas-Spes, and I think that we will try to respond at this question that is also very difficult for us, because some circumstances we cannot change, no, as an attack of or bombs, no, at this kind. And also I would like to say that we as we at this moment also have many volunteers who contacted us and asked how they could be helpful with tears in this situation, and we try to involve all of them as the needs are growing with the escalation of the war. Our employers work in different places. I'm working from Kyiv, also another my colleague also from Kyiv. Another so in more safety places day and night. That we prepare projects and coordinate activities even when hidden in the bomb shelters. We just launched also our Twitter as a Caritas-Spes, so you're welcome. Join us and we try to respond to this situation as fast as we can.
Thank you, Father Vyacheslav. And Caritas Internationalis just launched an emergency appeal in order to support both Caritas Ukraine and Caritas-Spes Ukraine work. And whoever would like also to support their work can do it through our website, www.caritas.org. And we are also, the Caritas is on the ground now, also start worrying about what will be in the next future. We'll all hope that this this will be end very soon, but it will have also important consequences in the future. So Tetiana, what are your preoccupation also thinking about what will be all the loss with the infrastructure, families torn apart, people relocated?
So I think, you know, right now there's a short-term, immediate next things that we're looking at, yes, which is the first you already mentioned is these corridors, green corridors, to bring in humanitarian aid to make sure that that we have enough stockpile in different locations. So that's one of our immediate needs. And then obviously when this is over, there will be a long process of, as Father Vyacheslav mentioned, it's not something that's, if it just ends and then suddenly everything will go back to normal. Yes, this is a huge trauma for all people. And especially I see a lot of parents struggling how to shepherd their children through this, and this running up and down to the basement whenever the air raid sirens go off. And there's a, yeah, it's a huge trauma, and that's not, I'm talking about the human aspects of it. Of course, you can go into also the physical aspects of having to rebuild infrastructure and restore places, shelters for people to live in and work and do things. But I can't emphasize enough the expressions of solidarity that we see at every corner inside the country. It's very inspiring. Did I answer your question, Marta?
Indeed, indeed, and it's inspiring for all of us, as it's inspiring also the solidarity and all the work done by Caritas in the neighboring countries to welcoming people coming from Ukraine, not just Ukrainian citizens, but also migrants who were in Ukraine at the beginning of all of this. And I know that well, there are many Caritases, Caritas Poland, Caritas Hungary, Caritas Moldova, and Caritas Romania, who are currently providing refugees with food, with blankets, with psychological support, hygiene kits, and all the things they might need at the moment. I know that the Deputy Director of Caritas Poland should be online. His name is Ireneusz Krause. I don't know, Ireneusz, if you would like to update us about the work you are doing at the moment, and also the challenges that you are facing. We are just.
I'm sorry, something with connection. It was a problem.
Yeah, I think so. But okay, in the moment that we try to solve technical problem, I'll get back to you, Father Vyacheslav. At this moment, if you would like to share an appeal with all the people listening to your word, and also to stress what are the main challenges you're facing in your daily work. There is something you would like to share?
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Mark. I would like to say, first of all, it's thank you for this support. This support, we can see that is united. I mean, we have many calls, we have many questions, we have many prayer supports in this situation. And I think that it is very good, very important also for us as humanitarian organizations, that we see that we are not alone in this terrible situation. Also, I would like to, I'm thinking also about that people that are not just here in Ukraine in terrible situation, but also outside. And please save our people. In sense, I know that everything will be okay, but I'm thinking how many of them will return to country. Yes, because it is also very difficult to be outside and thinking about Ukraine, about family that remain here, and really that people need that supports also, supports of souls, I mean, to be close to them. Yes, and generally I would like to say just thank you that we are together, that we are not alone with this in this terrible situation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your word. And now I know that Ireneusz it's ready. So
yes, sorry.
Thank you very much for describing us. How is the situation at the border with Poland?
Sorry, my camera and mic was hacked probably, or blocked. I don't know. I couldn't switch on. Anyway, the situation is very dynamic and complex, of course. Father Vyacheslav just mentioned the kids that and orphans Caritas Poland is going to host around 3,000 kids evacuated from Ukraine. We know that Polish government is ready for around 7,000 orphans kids from Ukraine, and we coordinate this together with Polish authorities and with Ukrainian authorities. So this is the one area. Another one, of course, we welcome everyone on the border in reception centers. Until now, there are in Poland around 400,000 refugees. So until now, in last days, 400,000 refugees came to our border and crossed the Polish border. There are many reception centers. We have there very active for the Diocese Caritas, and we work closely with them, of course. We coordinate, of course, the work of all Diocese, 45 Diocese Caritas, and everyone is involved in this assistance, and we are ready for accepting as many as possible together with Polish authorities. And I know that there are many other organizations, NGOs working in Poland. Of course, we support directly as well the Ukrainian citizens, sending non-food items and food items and medical supplies through different channels. What else I could mention? We are preparing, of course, for a bigger scale. For next days and weeks, we expect more refugees. So our centers, parishes, orders, many institutions are trying to create as many places as possible for accepting the next waves of migrants from the border. And of course, what I could mention, our volunteers, of course, are in those reception centers on the border, because we know that there are very long 30-40 kilometers queues on the border. So people standing, waiting for entering to Poland couple of days. So mostly women with very small kids, so they're exhausted. So we try to support there and deliver the food items and medical assistance, etc. I don't know if there are any particular questions. I'm ready to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ireneus. And we are sorry, we had to block the chat box before because of the hacking. Now we tried to reopen it. So if you have any particular question, we can try. In the meantime, I would like also to ask Tetiana Stawnychy about the same thing that I asked Father Vyacheslav. So would you like to make an appeal and to tell us about the challenges that you are coping with in your work at the moment?
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, Marta. I think I want to echo Father Vyacheslav's words, which is just a great thanks to all the people who've been writing to us and expressing their love, their concern, and their practical support for the work that we're doing and for the people of Ukraine. So that's just very, very, very deeply felt and very deeply appreciated by all of us. Yeah. As Father Vyacheslav said, it's important that we know that we're not alone, and we very much feel the community, the Caritas community in these days, and not only even outside of the Caritas community. There's been a big outpouring. So I would just, my appeal would be just to let's stay together, yeah, and get through this together, and stay the course. So if you can offer, and can you, because again, this is an evolving situation. Every day we're discovering new needs and new challenges. As I mentioned, we have different things. We have people who are in transit that we're helping. We have people who are resettling that we're helping. We have people who are at the border that we're assisting. And I think we need to turn our attention to the people who've been caught also in the line of fire as soon as it becomes safe to be able to get food and other basic needs to those people. So again, we talked about the importance of psychosocial support, which is also very important. And yeah, just I guess that would be it for me. So thank you again. Thank you so much for all the support from everyone.
Thank you. So I'm just reading, there are many questions in the chat. First of all, about the numbers of the refugees, the situation is really evolving fast. UNHCR talk about 500,000, but probably there are also many more. And then another question is about which are the most needed goods now at the moment in Ukraine. I don't know if Tetiana or Fr Vyacheslav would like to answer that question. We know that there is a lack of food, lack of fuel for the winter. So what are the goods you need the most at the moment?
So I think we're still collecting a full list, but in general, you're right. There's a problem with fuel. There's a problem with just general procurement areas. So sometimes it would be easier to bring in even things like warm blankets and beds and mattresses in from abroad. There's also definitely a need for medical supplies. I think that we'll be compiling a more concrete list in the coming days, because again, this is day 6 and we're still also grappling with the logistics and the organization of the response. I don't know, Fr Vyacheslav, if you wanted to add anything to the points that I mentioned of what's needed.
Thank you, Tetiana. Most of that needs are common, yes, because we're trying to respond to this situation. Thank you, Tetiana. If possible, I would like also add the information, because for us it's important to, if some people would like to help, would like to give to something like food or another stuff, it's better to ask organizations that that are here or that knows about what can be useful, because many times people try to support with open heart, but many of that things cannot be useful at this moment, no? And I think also this important to share with people those needs that they need, no? Because we have limited our storages, and we have to also to prepare that. And that needs that they need really. Yes, and just this.
Thank you, Fr Vyacheslav. Another question, they would like to know what you are doing. We already said during the conference, but maybe you would like to add something. What you are doing for displaced people and for people living in the war-affected areas.
So maybe I'll take it first, Fr Vyacheslav. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. So again, we explained, so with the people who are displaced, we are helping people who are in transit. So usually they'll come into our centers, receive a hot meal, some hot tea, a place to sleep. So that's for people in transit. Then you have the people who are coming and then trying to settle somewhere. So we are cooperating with the local city governments, and they are making available. So we also have some Caritas spaces available, but then we're setting up together with the city governments, so schools, kindergartens, and other places where IDPs can stay for a little bit longer. And we have centers set up for that. What was the other question? I lost the...
No, people in the war conflict affected areas and
Yeah. Okay. So as you know, all know, we've been working in the eastern part of Ukraine along the contact line for many years. Yeah. So at this point, our teams, many of them had to relocate outside because of the fighting. It's been dangerous, but we have continued to provide support by phone. Yeah. So helping people with cash access to the cash payments, and then also helping with psychosocial support. Our psychologists have been working actively with all the people in that area that we've traditionally always worked with, in the buffer zone, that are now under very difficult circumstances as we're able. Yeah. In the other areas that where we haven't had conflict before, this is something that we're looking at these days, is to see what we can do to reactivate some work. I think really what's going to be needed in those areas again is food, water, and medicine. At this point, that's what we've identified, and we have to still think through logistics of what we can do. I hope that answered your question. I don't know, Fr Vyacheslav, if you wanted to add something.
Yes, generally we are doing the same. We try to support that people who are close to border. Yes, with hot food, hot meals, and also for us it's also important to create this network of communication to respond to needs in the local units that we have in seven cities in Ukraine. And especially that part of East, because there is also very difficult situation, because one time we had information that, for example, I don't know, Berdyansk is occupied, and so there will be a problem. Our question is what will be with bank system, because we also try to support them, because at this moment it's just unique possibility to give to their accounts sources to use for respond to that needs that people have. But what will be if it will not be possible, no? And then another day, so it's deoccupied. And so the situation so rapidly is changed that we have to respond, no? Also the situation here in Kyiv, because, many people have that needs, and it's not just big groups, for example, as we have 37, but also people that's still alone in this situation, and to create that that safety coordinator center, that coordination with volunteers and that persons. And so it's a big issue, because this situation is a little bit difficult, but we try to respond to that needs that people have.
Thank you. Another question is about many people in Italy and other countries. They would like to come to the border in order to bring help, and also if people need a transportation, they would like to know what it's your stand, if there is a need at the moment to do so, if you have any indication about that. Fr Vyacheslav?
Yes, about evacuation here, for example, from Kyiv, because generally mostly people called from Kyiv. Also, there is a question about East, but there is more difficult situation. But here is from Kyiv. Also, we had two persons from another country that stopped here, and they called from another Caritas, or can we evacuate them? Just one possibility is that Ukrainian train, yes, by the train, because every day they have evacuation trains to another places. So it is a possibility, but they have to go to the train station, and there will be evacuated. Also yesterday my sister were evacuated, and she said that she waited about 2 hours to enter to that train that went to another safety place.
Thank you. And Tetiana, would you like to complement something on this?
Sure. I think also, so the question of evacuation from the cities is one thing. And then the other question, I think maybe what some of the partners were asking about was, is there a need to take people who are at the border into other countries? I think the best thing for that would be to contact the local Caritas that are working. So it's actually Moldova, Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, Czech Republic, and Poland right now, who are working actively on the refugees that are coming across the border. So my recommendation would be to work with them and see what could be helpful.
Thank you so much. Another question is how to have hope in this situation, how to keep hope alive, especially when you talk with people. So Tetiana, you're already online. So how to find the strength to have hope in this moment?
Well, I can tell you how the people that we know in Ukraine are finding that hope is by helping one another. Yeah. Again, this outpouring of attention to people in need, to helping. I was hearing really interesting stories of somebody fleeing from Odessa, and they somehow got a list of things that were needed in a Caritas center in Ternopil, and they stopped at a store on the way, picked it up, and then brought it to the Caritas, and then went on their way further to the border. Yeah, there's, this. I guess it's what I was saying before. Yeah, you keep hope by presenting this deep truth of helping. That we carry a deep truth in us when we honor the dignity of another person in front of us. Yeah, and it's a restorative act, and I think that's the thing that gives hope. So that would be mine.
Thank you, Tetiana. And Father Vyacheslav, you're
Yes.
also a priest. So how to give hope to your flock, not just having hope yourself, but also to the people.
When we speak with people, also we have together that meal, and in shelter we together also going. It's something that unites us. But about hope, I think that understanding that we are together in the same situation. The humor is also a good thing that support us. But mostly when I speak with people, the heroism of Ukrainian people is something that gives us hope. For example, a few days ago, one girl in pharmacy as pharmacist called to me saying, "Father, how I can help?" I said, in this situation, the most useful will be if you will go to shelter. She said, I'm in pharmacy. I'm ready to open the pharmacy and give that medicines to all who is in need. I said, no, at this moment it's very dangerous. She said, oh, if it's dangerous, I am ready to go to the city delivering in my hands. And I said, oh my goodness, this is something that young people that have so much heroism, it's really support, and it gives to all people that here, I am sure that hope.
Thank you. And just one last question. We were talking after also the Holy Father appeal, the humanitarian corridors. What is your stance on it, and how we can help in this regard?
So, Father Vyacheslav, did you want to go first?
Maybe if you can.
I can go first. Okay, yeah. So obviously, the humanitarian corridors are very important to meet basic needs of people, and to so that would be a great support.
Thank you. And Vyacheslav, especially for children.
For us, it's also very important topic, because we are in touch in this topic with state, with officials, and they ask to organize also this corridors, this communication, this logistic system, and hosted that children. We are ready to respond at this. But the question of safety at this moment is very important. It's one of the principles of our organization, and I think that it's something that can be resolved, and we cannot influence other this as yeah.
Thank you. So I think that 1 hour already passed, and our colleagues in Ukraine really important things to cope with. So I would like to thank Tetiana Stawnychy and Fr Vyacheslav Grynevych for being here with us, and thank you for your work. And we thank also all the Caritases in the neighboring countries, so Caritas Poland, Caritas Slovakia, Caritas Moldova, Caritas Romania, Caritas Hungary, and sorry if we forget some Caritas. I also would like to remind you that you can support Caritas work in Ukraine and soon also in the neighboring countries, making donation to Caritas Internationalis website, www.caritas.org. And now I would like to give the floor back to Aloysius John, Caritas Internationalis Secretary General, for some word of conclusion. Thank you so much.
Dear Tetiana and dear Father Vyacheslav, you have witnessed with courage, and you have brought to evidence that the sufferings are beyond human imagination. The needs are immense, and Caritas Network will work hard to give you all the necessary to give so that you can continue to give humanity and dignity to those who have been suffering. Your message was clear. You said hope by presenting the deep truth of having the dignity of honoring the dignity of the other. You said hope by being united. And you said hope by helping one another. We will continue to give this hope to you, and the Caritas Network will continue to support all the humanitarian response of Caritas Ukraine and Caritas-Spes, and you can count on the members. I want to say a special words of appreciation and thanks to the hundreds of volunteers you have succeeded in mobilizing. The youth, young boys and girls, men and women who are there in the front line. I also want to thank the regional Caritas in the region, Moldova, Poland, Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, and Czech Republic, who are there in the front line to bring support to the people who are on the move. Thank you once again. Our prayers and support to Caritas in Ukraine, and we also continue to give hope to you by being in solidarity with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that you're close to us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all. And thank you so much for your prayers. Yeah,
Yes.
I think that everybody really feels them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you for your precious work.